VRN, where educators share what works.
There is now an extension, ChatGPT, for YouTube. So when you go to YouTube and you have the extension, without even playing the video, you can click on it and it will give you a summary of the video and bullet pointed highlights, even with specific icons, giving you an indication of what it's talking about. Now, we tried this in class yesterday with my students, but then we realized you can get that summary in any language you want. So that's going to be a game changer, I think, for flipped learning.
Cliff notes for you too.
Well, hello, everybody. Good morning. How are you all doing?
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
So, an exciting week, I think. I left our last session so recharged. I couldn't wait to dive into some of the tools, and I think you've all been up to the same thing. The newest developments and newest excitement seem to be around add-ons, these third-party tools that leverage the technology that AI offers. I think we've been playing with add-ons a bit. What have you been up to? What have you found? What have you liked? And what have you not?
One of the things that I really do like are the QR code generators, because it allows me to embed things, whether that's in a document for students or in a writing piece that I may generate. And I've been able to use that even for my own gradebook. When I have individualized gradebooks for my students that all populate off of mine, and I was able to just go in, copy the link for their gradebook, put it into ChatGPT. It gave me the QR code immediately, and then I was able to send that QR code on to parents. So parents just scan it with their phone, access their child's gradebook, and it's been a phenomenal asset to the class.
I love QR codes. I use them every single lesson. I was teaching for quite a while online. We had COVID, and then unfortunately in Turkey we had the terrible earthquake earlier this year, and another one done online. And I kind of became an online teacher who is now teaching the class face-to-face. And I find I'm using all the same tools that I was using online, but in the classroom. And it works fantastically. So with Padlets, with Mentimeters, with anything I do at all, I prepare the QR codes in advance, and then my students are there, they get their phones out, I can see who's on, we're all interacting with them. I'm a teacher trainer as well, and I often get asked by instructors, well, how do you keep the students off their phones? And I say, well, we're using them constantly for the learning that we're doing. So yeah, QR codes, fantastic tools. For interaction, amazing.
Definitely. I had to go take a look at the title. I guess I'm using the new version of Clippy. If anybody remembers that. Yes, it's through Microsoft. So I've been using Copilot. It came up, just popped up on my device as beta. And so at first I was afraid to click, like, what is this? But I find that I'm trying to say her. I find like I'm asking her questions often. And again, I kind of use AI more selfishly. For work, I really needed to understand a formula that someone made in an Excel spreadsheet, and it's rather long. And I'm not that versed with formulas. So I was able to actually copy the formula, put it in, and then it was like, oh, yeah, this part means this part means that. And it really broke it down for me. And I was like, oh, okay. That's what I thought it said. But this gave me more information, and I found that was really cool.
Julie, that a student of mine, he's working as a student assistant looking for apps and extensions and everything for ChatGPT, and he came to me yesterday, something similar. He said, Caroline, do you know, I think it's in Excel, that now you can just type in what you want into Excel and it will tell you the formula to use, and you can copy and paste that. So is that what you were doing, or was Clippy telling you and you were using it in Excel?
Clippy was telling me, but I have seen that pop up in Excel, in Google Sheets.
Yeah,
I've seen AI pop up just about anywhere, in Canva for education, Magic something.
MagicTool.ai.
Is it? It's an extension in Canva, Magic something.
Oh, Magic Write. Magic Write has so many new AI apps.
and now image to create your presentation, to create your documents. But no, I actually use the Clippy, but I have seen that feature in Excel as well. It's funny though, I don't know if you ever saw Big Bang Theory, where Sheldon says he's upset because he gets a new version of Windows where it's just easy installation, and he doesn't like that because it's away from his thinking. And so part of me is like, I don't want to always use the calculator to add something because I want my brain to continue to critically process what it takes to do that. So I do get a little scared with all the extensions. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Sorry. I think a lot of the extensions are streamlining what we're doing and making what we're doing more efficient. Because I've used Canva's extension in ChatGPT. It has given a lot of ideas, like these would be great templates to use for this specific prompt that you're asking. There are times where I'm like, okay, I really don't like any of those, but it at least got my wheels turning as to what it could be and what templates were out there. So Canva's plugin is, I mean, it's okay. It's not perfect yet, but we're definitely moving closer to, just being able to type something in and getting, that Canva document. But going to Canva and using their AI stuff is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Some of my students last week discovered something in Google Forms. So, when you when you're creating a survey or a questionnaire or whatever, and you write your question in, and then from the drop-down box, you have to say multiple choice or paragraph, etc. But they spotted that they were writing in their questions and they didn't have to choose from the drop-down box anymore because it recognized from their question which one to choose. Wow. We just found that totally by chance.
Yeah, Microsoft and Google have been on the leading edge of integration with this stuff, and it's amazing how quickly they've gotten AI into the background of some of their tools, some of their suites. It's really impressive.
Apple's putting something in there too. So it's just like, it's everywhere.
My problem with AI, or maybe my problem much more generally, when I start a task, I get laser focused, but not in a good way. I like the whole world melts away when I'm grading or reading. I just get completely engulfed in it. And because I'm so in tune to whatever I'm doing, I forget that AI is there as an aid. I forget, in another tab, I could speed this up for myself, or I could get this information. So the tool I've been using daily, if not hourly, I know I mentioned it previously when we've gotten together, but it's Flot or Float, I don't know how they pronounce it, FLOT.IT. But this is a plugin that you load on as an application in Windows, and when, I don't know how it does it, but when you highlight text in any context, what automatically pops up is a button that you can click that connects to ChatGPT, and you can put a prompt into that little window that pops up relevant to the text you just highlighted. So if I'm in Word, if I'm on a website, if anything, anywhere I can highlight text, I can immediately call upon ChatGPT to analyze or summarize or do something with that text. So that for someone like me that just doesn't think to take that mental break and say, oh, let me go over to my AI browser screen, I truly have this assistant with me all the time that can analyze any text that I choose to highlight. That's been incredibly helpful for me.
Have you seen, Tom, there's now GPT Assistant, which is an extension which you can download, and then you don't need to switch between tabs. So whichever page you're on, you can click on the extension and it comes up in a little box, and you can use it while you're still on the site that you're on. It doesn't sound as advanced as Flot IT, but that's something we discovered last week as well.
So, Caroline, one thing that you were sharing with us, as we were chatting by text, was the YouTube plugin.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, tell us about that, good and bad, because I think you kind of spotted some potential misuses that students might engage in that maybe we should all be aware of.
I don't think it's a misuse. I think it's a paradigmatic shift of how we use things. So there is now an extension for YouTube, ChatGPT for YouTube. So when you go to YouTube and you have the extension, without even playing the video, you can click on it and it will give you a summary of the video and bullet pointed highlights, even with specific icons telling you, kind of giving you an indication of what it's talking about. Now, we tried this in class yesterday with my students. Because it's a flipped class, I have lots of videos that I do before class. And sometimes the students are like, oh my goodness, we've got to watch the videos before class. And we went through and I said, okay, well, let's try this. Pull up some of my videos. And we had an activity. They had to pull up the 4 short videos that they had before class. And they had to use the YouTube extension to get a summary of them. And they put their summaries down. But then we realized you can get that summary in any language you want. So all the flip videos that I'm doing, my students do not need to A, watch them, and B, they don't need to be engaging in English either. So that's going to be a game changer, I think, for flip learning.
Cliff notes for you too.
So I have to push back gently and respectfully, Caroline. I teach in a flip format too, and I think the benefit of the videos I create is not in the content, but in the explanation. In other words, I spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to break complicated topics down for my students and build those concepts through comprehension and understanding in the minds of my students. And I feel like if students were to bypass watching the video by getting a summary, they would get the content, but they wouldn't get the delivery. They wouldn't get the explanation. I worry that they might shortchange their learning if they use the tool in that way.
They might shortchange their learning, definitely. What came out of this was a discussion with my students that was so useful, feedback for me. They said that they didn't find the videos before the class particularly useful because it was more looking at the kind of history of ChatGPT and AI and things like that. They said it seems really theoretical, and yet the classes are so hands-on, it doesn't feel like the two go together. And I'd kind of been thinking this myself. And actually doing this and looking at it and matching those key points from the pre-class videos to what we were actually doing in class exposed this difference. So it was really useful. I'm actually going to completely change how I do this course based on that lesson yesterday. It's made me realize that, in fact, it's more an exploratory, problem-based course, and I shouldn't be using a traditional flipped approach to do it.
Mm-hmm. As worried as I might be that a student is getting a summary of my video rather than watching it, I am absolutely horrified to think of a student of mine sitting at an interview and being asked, what experience do you have with ChatGPT or similar AI platforms? And that student replying, what is that? Like, that's much more horrifying to me than any short-circuiting they might do.
I agree.
I'll have to say, as we head for the exit and go to another week in the classroom, we have to prepare our students for the world they're entering. That is our job in its most distilled form. It was a good reminder for me, so I appreciate it.
Take care, Tom.
Have a great week, everyone. You too, guys. Bye-bye.
You can see links to all the tools mentioned in this episode in the show notes. Thanks for listening.